As members of a concerned populace, what can we do about this rise in antibiotic resistance in human pathogens? Well, there are some things that you can do and some things that others can do. But essentially, what the goal is to do is to reduce the rise of superbugs or drug-resistant bacteria. We cannot eliminate them completely, but we can keep them from growing and evolving to extraordinarily high numbers. Of course, patients can comply with physician instructions, not request antibiotics when they have a viral infection, and finish courses of antibiotics when prescribed. Physicians can diagnose infections and also test to see if any of the infections are antibiotic resistant before prescribing antibiotics. Drug research is another alternative, looking at new types of antibiotics or even other alternative mechanisms at combating infections without using antibiotics. We can also promote the idea of taking antibiotics out of animal feed. The FDA is currently investigating this, but in the meantime, as a paying consumer, you can choose to purchase meat and food that is produced from animals that are not using antibiotics. So antibiotic-free meat. It may be slightly more expensive, but if this is a concern of yours, you can voice this concern with your wallet. Finally, additional funds for healthcare coverage so that everyone has access to a doctor when necessary. And also, of course, one of our most potent tools is vaccines. By being vaccinated against some of these diseases, you'll never get them to begin with. You'll never be sick, and you'll be able to fight off the infection with your immune system rather than taking antibiotics to fight the disease later. Now that we've talked about antibiotics, let's have a little discussion about antiviral agents. There are relatively few antiviral drugs available, and that's because the antiviral drugs target viral processes, which are particularly challenging because viruses use human cells and human metabolism in order to reproduce. Many substances that inhibit viral replication would also then be toxic to human cells because the viruses are using human host cell machinery in order to reproduce. Antibiotics are, of course, not effective against viruses because viruses lack the target components such as cell walls, often membranes, and ribosomes that antibiotics usually need. In order to replicate, a virus needs to find a susceptible host cell, get inside the cell, use viral nucleic acids to make new copies of the viral genome and viral proteins, and assemble new viruses. The virus then would escape the host cell and find a new one. Antiviral medicine can target each one of these steps. And if the viral process is different enough from host cell machinery, then selective toxicity can be accomplished. For example, some viruses such as HIV and herpes use a viral enzyme for replication of the viral genome. By blocking the viral enzyme, you can target viral infected cells while keeping non-viral infected cells alive in the human body. Several antiviral drugs work by enhancing the immune response to the virus and not targeting viral replication at all. These include interferons. Interferons essentially signal white blood cells to target and destroy viruses. However, interferons can come with their own negative side effects because they do impact the function of the white blood cells. Just like we've seen with antibiotic resistance, there is antiviral resistance that viruses have evolved as well. This includes drugs used to treat HIV and Theraflu, which is used to treat flu viral infections. However, the acquisition of antiviral resistance is a little different. Viruses have not been evolving antiviral resistance for billions of years. They also do not acquire genes to inactivate antiviral drugs from other viruses like bacteria do when they exchange genes. Instead, all of these antiviral resistance occurs by current modern-day mutations that are occurring in the viral particles over time. Some viruses are more error-prone than others when replicating, which may lead to drug resistance over time. Again, this is common in HIV and flu virus, which are constantly mutating, changing, and evolving over time. Well, that's it for this chapter. I hope you enjoyed learning about microbial control methods and how to kill microbes that infect us.